From Eyewitness Animals, The Story of Easter, written by Robin Currie, illustrated by Max Kolding. Hello, I'm Digger Mole. I want to tell you about the morning something wonderful happened right in my own garden. Most of the time, I dig tunnels underground. I eat insects that might hurt the plants in my garden. I try to dig carefully, but sometimes I bump into a flower bed or chew on a carrot by mistake. Then the gardener gets after me. When I hear that the gardener is around, I jump back into my hole in the ground. But on this special morning, I was not underground at all. That's because some strange things had been going on in my garden. I was sleeping deep in my mole hole when I was jolted awake. Something heavy was being rolled over my tunnel. What was being rolled around in the garden on a spring day? Then I remembered something that happened a few days before. The body of someone who died was put in the cave on the far side of my garden. Then a man named Joseph rolled a big, heavy stone in front of the cave. And now that big stone was rolled off to one side. I looked all around. I didn't see any strong men who could move the stone away. There was no one in the garden at all. I was just going over to look in the cave myself when I heard someone coming. It might be the gardener, I thought, so I jumped back in my hole in the ground. But it wasn't the gardener. It was two men. They ran over to the cave and went in. I walked over to the cave and looked inside. My eyes opened wide. The cave was empty. Empty! One of the men said, "Jesus is not here. We must go and tell the others." The excited men ran out of the cave and hurried back to the city. What was going on in my garden? I was headed back for my hole when I heard steps on the garden path. It might be the gardener this time, I thought, so I jumped back into my hole in the ground. But it was a woman. She looked in the cave and came out crying. She looked all around in the bushes. She looked behind the olive tree. I wondered if she had lost something. I didn't know what she was looking for. Then I heard the rustle of grass on the garden path. This time it might really be the gardener, I thought, so I jumped back into my hole in the ground. The woman thought it was the gardener, too. She said, "I am looking for Jesus. Tell me where you have taken him." Jesus must have been the man whose body was in the cave, I thought. I peeked my head out just enough to see what was going on in my garden. Then the man spoke. He smiled and said, "Mary." Suddenly, the woman knew who it was. It was not the gardener at all. It was Jesus. The man who had been dead was now alive. Mary wasn't crying anymore. She was smiling. Something very wonderful happened that morning, and it happened right in my garden.